Welcome to the Win Las Vegas. I'm Bryce Adams with Captiv8, and I am really excited to be here with Justin Anderson from the NFL. Justin, tell us who you are and what you do with the league.
Justin Anderson, Director of Social Content over at the NFL. I oversee our player social team, oversee our content creator network, as well as a lot of our original content, creative development, and tentpole innovation as it relates to social.
Wow, that's I'm sure they keep you busy with a lot of different opportunities.
Yeah.
We were talking a little earlier about one of your roles being storytelling around helmet off content. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and why that's such a priority for the league?
Yeah, for sure. And Tim Ellis, our CMO, touched on this in his panel a little bit. We've really adopted. First, players are wearing helmets, so we don't have the same advantage that maybe NBA does, where they're all in the spotlight without a helmet. So part of that is to be strategic with all of our creative, whether it's graphic, static, video, et cetera, and make sure we have them in helmets off, so you can recognize Mahomes, you can recognize Travis Kelce, and all our stars, and in rising stars certainly too. But it's more than that. It's also, look at all the players around the league, thousands of stories to tell, and it's continual. Like, we have legends, we have players, and then we have a ever-evolving cycle of new players coming in and rising stars, and they all have such unique interests or passions or hobbies or whatever it might be that you can connect with on a one-on-one basis. Oh, he's a Harry Potter fan? I am too. He loves to cook? I do too. Whatever it might be, we try and develop stories around their passions, package it in a way that we know is going to be engaging on social, that is going to perform well on social. And we have a phenomenal, their team name is SALT, the social analytics listening team. And they provide us with literally the science behind the art. How do we package things? Why do we start with the sell right at the beginning, or whatever it might be? So we utilize that tool and their information to really make sure that all the storytelling we do is performing it as well as it can on social.
It's so interesting how the data can kind of inform how you guys roll out your strategy and those passion points that can be on-ramps to fandom, right? So to your point, I'm a gamer and I love the NFL because I engage with it through Madden, and that's what kind of gets me into the NFL ecosystem. As you guys are thinking about identifying those passion points, what are some of the key opportunities you see through social for fan engagement to bring people into the NFL fold or engage their fandom from a casual into more of an avid fan?
Yeah. Well, we've seen, part of that with the Taylor Swift effect, and
I hadn't heard about,
which has been amazing for bringing in a young female, primary female audience. And I said this in the panel, but we saw, I think, from a roughly low 40s to a low 50s jump, 50% in viewership being female, and we know through our SALT team again that there are certain type of content buckets that perform well with our key demos, and one of those is comedy, one of those is humor, and then we have our what we call our key marketing content verticals. So it's wellness / fitness, very very popular with Gen Z. Whether it's fashion is another huge one, gaming, pop culture. And then I kind of mentioned this in the panel as well, but the education component. If we have all these new fans that are coming to check out the NFL, what it's about, they're interested in the game because, Taylor Swift is interested in the game, or whoever it might be. We have a strategy and approach that we're educating them in a way that is inviting, that we're welcoming them with open arms, pulling them in closer, and giving them touch points to the game that allow them to enjoy the game a little bit more. And it's also great content, for avid fans. It's I think avid fans already know this. What is a first down? They already know. But if we're able to do it in a fun, lighthearted way, and I brought up Mary Martinez, the third grade teacher who we work with, just such a cute, great, amazing job of how she teaches her third grade class. So we want to distill that into our own content for how to educate those audiences. And again, it's entertaining, so it's also valuable to most avid fans as well.
It's so interesting because my daughter is 6 and I only have one, and I want her to be as big of a fan of the NFL as like I was with my dad growing up in the 90s, and the way that I kind of got her engaged with it was this math, because she loves math, and it's constantly just numbers changing. Jordan, it's 10 yards. They get 3. How many more do they have to go? And it's this many points, and how many more touchdowns they need to score to tie it up. And so that's how she now engages with me. Like, we watched a Toy Story game, and that was like one hook. And then when I realized, try to get her to sit down and watch it again, it was math. And so there's so many different ways that you can get people in. And I think social can be a really great way to keep them, right? Because we have a finite amount of games every year to have destination viewing. But that Taylor Swift fan, how do we keep them engaged throughout the year, whether it's via your platform partners, right? A TikTok, a YouTube, an Instagram, a Meta. Can you talk a little bit about how you approach those platform partners and maybe some innovative ways that you use them to engage with fans around big tent poles like maybe Pro Bowl or Super Bowl or things like that? Yeah,
we're actually today, I missed a really huge shoot that my team is on for TikTok Tailgate, which is, I think this is our third or fourth year we have it, and the tailgate is essentially before the show, and Gwen Stefani's the musical act this year, and we have a show that we produce that's the entertainment facet leading into that, and we're bringing out 10 plus creators, a series of players, and literally producing a game show that's very TikTok relevant. They're decorating cakes and so on and so forth. They're shooting this right now at another location, and that's going to be before the musical performance on Sunday. So that's one avenue with TikTok, and I mentioned this in the panel as well. But we just got done with Pro Bowl in Orlando last week, and we had our first ever creator row, which we literally had a space for 4 different creators we brought out. Adam W., Funny Marco, the sign guy, and Emmanuel Duvernu, to name the 4. Funny Marco and Adam W., very comedy driven. The sign guy, he's art, but he's creating signs, and AMSR, it's kind of like, is that right? AMSR? I forget the name of that is. And then Emmanuel, he's a chef and a TikTok chef. And so he's creating sandwiches one-on-one with players. Like, that's awesome. What kind of sandwich they like. And so we worked with TikTok to bring that to life. And we had 10 players over the course of 2 days come in and create one-on-one content with these 4 different creators, which was amazing. It's to bring creators and players like that together. It's a really cool opportunity to just create content that we normally don't, during the season. And then the second part we had at Pro Bowl was our Reddit AMA podium, which we had on both sides during the game. And essentially we literally had a live Reddit AMA, Ask Me Anything, during the Pro Bowl itself. We had a player on either side that were kind of helping facilitate it. And we've never had a touch point like that. So live and interactive in real time on the field the way we did, and we look for ways to continue to work with partners that.
Well, I think to be innovative and bring the game to fans is really important for you all, and it's interesting because I remember when it was like every athlete wanted to be an actor or a rapper. It's almost like now every athlete wants to be a creator in some way, shape, or form, right? Sure. A lot of them are going out and doing their podcasts, or they're really focused on growing their TikTok following. So they really are engaging with fans in fun and innovative ways on Twitter. How does your team harness the power of your athletes as creators, whether it is identifying new trends, whether it is bringing them in NFL editorial, whether it's doing crazy things, or not crazy, innovative things with your partners? How have you seen that space evolve as athletes, NFL players, as creators in your time with the league?
Tremendously. I mean, when I started, we were part of the team's job was to get them verified on Twitter, and that's still certainly a part of the job, and we help with that. But the team do such a phenomenal job, and there's so many different things we do, and the core fundamental part of the job, which is from day one, is to provide players with real-time content from the game so they can use on their platforms, whether it's pictures, their entrance, their fit as they enter the game, a great picture celebrating with their teammates, whatever it might be. Same with highlights and so forth. And the team delivers the content in real time to these players. So as soon as they get out of the game, they immediately open the phone and they have that content should they want to use it. So it's helping to build their brands. But to your question and point on like storytelling and creators, we've seen, I think we could call out key players. whether it's a Tyreek Hill or certain others that are very active in the creator space, and they're creating, whether it's gaming content, again, back to their passions, leaning into their passions and utilizing their platform to kind of create that connection and reach new audiences. And my team's really there to help them. And from A to B, we can, we're a resource to help them onboard to TikTok, learn the best practices. We literally send out a newsletter monthly to reps and players and agents and so forth that kind of talks about, how to up your following, how to best practices, so on and so forth. And we're a resource for them from A to Z. Like I said, from onboarding, platform building, brand building, storytelling. We did a lot of fun content this year around Halloween with Myles Garrett. He's a huge...
Yeah, he comes to the games dressed
Halloween
up in those great costumes every year.
So we worked with his team beforehand to, I think we sent out a crew, and he had a whole spectacular haunted house at his house. It was based off of Jeepers Creepers.
I remember seeing that. Yeah. With all the gravestones. Was it one of the gravestones?
He did the gravestone. Yeah. This year was a little more edgy. It was. Okay. If you've seen Jeepers Creepers, it's a little more gory, and so his approach was a bit more gory than gravestones this year. It was phenomenal. I mean, he really dives deep into it. But we were there as a resource to help tell that story, and not only from a production standpoint, offering camera, post-production, editing, distribution, et cetera, but also from brainstorming with it. What can we do with, okay, you have an opportunity here. Can we show a time lapse of you getting your makeup ready for the game? That's not an option. Can we have you scaring teammates? Whatever it might be. So we also act as a resource to help brainstorm and come up with ways based on what we know is going to perform well on social, and apply those learnings for them.
I think that's really interesting, the organic. A lot of the best ideas come from organic and authenticity of what people are passionate about. And we've seen that be a best practice, whether it's your favorite creator that you follow on social or within your role. When I think about the scale of the NFL, there are 53 active players on each roster. There's 32 teams. It's 1,600 plus people with infinite stories they could tell. There's 200 million fans. How do you get to the point where you identify the most authentic stories, the avenues you want to pursue, because it's literally unlimited out there in terms of what you guys could share, capture, and merchandise?
Part of it is simple relationships, just knowing, what there are some players that don't care for creating content, or the spotlight, and that's totally fine. So it's having those relationships, and we work very closely with a number of folks within our building, our player marketing team and so forth, to understand what kind of players, if we have an idea, would be best for this based on their interests, based on their personality, et cetera. Or like Myles Garrett, it's just developing great relationships with their reps or their agents and so forth, and then finding those natural opportunities. There's no secret ingredient to it. It really boils down to just like research, understanding our players well, understanding what their interests and moves are, what moves them, and then executing on it, working with them.
I think it's just so compelling as you think about the way that social is constantly evolving and the way that you have to stay ahead of that. And Captiv8, one of the largest creator partner or companies in the world, I should say. And so we've had a chance to work with our partners over the years to see that evolution. As you think specifically about the creator economy, what excites you from where you sit about the opportunity to work with your quote unquote traditional creators? So not your players who also create content creation, but as you think about growing your role, growing your share of voice, growing the game, what excites you from a creator lens that you think is really going to be something you want to continue to work on or innovate on as you think about going into the 2024 season?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much at the league, and we have a great program with our YouTube Creator of the Week, and that's been phenomenal this first year. We essentially brought a different creator to every single game to create shorts, or one game every single week of the season to create shorts, based on the access they're getting to the game. And I think the next evolution of that is trying to find more ways to bring our players into the fold, whether it's legends or whatever it might be, and continue to tell those one-on-one stories with creators. But what I love and what is exciting to me is I call it creator development, right? And I think you have these creators that are wonderful, that have massive followings, Mr. Beast and so on. But there's also this plethora of people that have less than 100,000 followers are just starting out or whatever. One of our most viral videos in history was with the creator named Frankie LaPena, who's the green screen guy.
Yeah.
And this was back still during 2021, so around the pandemic, coming out of that, we did a green screen video with him partnering with the Ravens at the Ravens game. And, everyone's dream, if you're on a Zoom, you'd rather be at a football game or anywhere else. And the video was our most viral video in the history of NFL social.
Wow.
Up until it was dethroned by Rihanna at Super Bowl last year.
Okay. If you're going to lose, Rihanna's on a bad person.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Too, right?
Exactly. But the point being, I think he had a couple 100,000 followers, if that, at the time. So it's not always about the amount of following. And while that does have a significant impact, there's also an opportunity to find, it's no different than, I would, in the music industry, finding that next artist or whatever. To me, it's finding that next, and then you create those strong relationships with them. And it's like, he's got, now at this point in his career, Frankie, he has an agent, he has a rep and all that, but we can call him up and directly and he'll
have that relationship.
Because we've been there since the start of it. So our greater influencer team, that I sit on the influencer team, has wonderful relationships with a number of creators, phenomenal creators that have been around for a long time, and going to continue to refine that. But it's also, to me, finding, the creator development, finding the next wave.
I think that's really smart, and embracing that wave, because we know that creators are so great in bringing brands into places and spaces that maybe brands couldn't organically just force their way into. And to your point, as you take that journey with them, it's like you're helping break each other.
Yeah.
You're helping break him into the larger mass market, and he's helping break you into his space and his family of followers, which is really incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Justin, for coming out and joining us at Brand Innovators. We want to thank The Win for being such incredible hosts.
That's great.
Not a bad place to be as we anticipate Super Bowl Sunday coming up. And you guys, I want to thank you for joining us. And I will say the two best heads of hair at the Super Bowl. So I'm glad they put us together. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, man. That was great. Yeah. Oh, that was fun.